And in addition, bilaterally, we have now agreed, importantly, to continued law enforcement dialogue. So there's been some progress on that. It recognizes issues of accountability. I extended the invitation to Prime Minister Modi in that context, and he has accepted.
Welcome to Khanversations. I'm MuqtedarKhan, your host, and I'm coming to you from the New Jersey Turnpike. I'm on my way to New Jersey, but I saw the press conference hosted by the Canadian Prime Minister Carney, and he made some very interesting observations about Canada's belated invitation to Prime Minister Modi for the G7 convention that is going to be hosted in Alberta next week. So first of all, as you all are aware, there was all this controversy going on in India about why Modi was not invited. But if you remember in my show, I made this argument as to how India is too important to be ignored, and I asked the question as to why India was not yet invited. Of course, we did always keep the option that there was still time, about 10 days. Now there's about 8 days still left that India could be invited, but late invitations can be problematic because they preclude organization of bilateral meetings and also preparation for the conference itself. But nevertheless, Modi was invited. Carney himself called Modi, and Modi has accepted it. It was very interesting to see how the controversy was going on, and while the opposition in India was asking the question whether India's foreign policy was not achieving its goal and whether Narendra Modi's diplomacy was undermining India's national interests because India was being ignored and marginalized. In response, a lot of people, especially speaking on behalf of Prime Minister Modi, started targeting both Canada as well as G7. In fact, you should see Smita Prakash's 5-minute take on this particular issue. She is the editor and I think in charge of ANI, and of course one of the strongest spokesperson for the Bharatiya Janata Party. And she made two interesting observations. One, that G7 was not relevant anymore. Apparently, the world's top 7 economies of the top 10 were irrelevant to the world, and so it was waste of time for India to participate with G7. And then the second point that she made was that even if Carney or Canada were to invite Prime Minister Modi would not go to this G7 because he was so busy with the consequences of Operation Sindoor, and the terrorists who committed the attack in Pahalgam have not yet been caught. It's more than a month and a half, and so she was trying to make the point that even if invited, Carney would not go. If you recall, in my argument, I have always, for the last 3-4 years, made the case that as one of the top economies in the world and also as a democracy, India should be part of G7, and G7 should be converted into a G8, as it was when Russia was popular with the West. But anyway, coming back to what Carney said, it is amazing as to what he said. If you look at the video clips that I have included in this conversation, you will notice that he was asked this question straight away, whether he thought that Modi was involved, Modi himself, the Prime Minister of India himself, was involved in the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. And to that, it is amazing that Carney did not say no.
Do you believe Mr. Modi was involved in the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar?
Well, first off, there is a legal process that is literally underway and quite advanced in Canada, and it's never appropriate to make comments in any respect with respect to those legal processes.
But with respect, if you cannot say no, why invite him here?
I gave, with respect, I gave you an answer that is appropriate to someone in my position about an ongoing legal process including which federal authorities are directly involved.
But there is a possibility?
I will give you the same answer to any legal process, and anyone who holds this office, past and future, will give the same answer to any ongoing legal process, because otherwise the individual in this office will interfere.
What is your message then to Canadians who are a bit disturbed or wondering why Mr. Modi is being invited to Canada when there is this legal process that has not cleared him and his governments of involvement in the death of a Canadian on Canadian soil?
My message is that we're a country of the rule of law. The rule of law is proceeding as it should in Canada, and I am not going to disrupt that process.
Let me say that again so that it sinks in. A reporter asked the Prime Minister of Canada. Now, this itself must be very unusual for Indians, because reporters don't get to ask questions to Prime Minister Modi at all, who never takes a press conference in India. Otherwise, people could have asked him this question: how come you are still going to Canada after all the things that have happened with Canada? Anyway, the reporter asked Carney if he thought that Modi was involved in the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, because the Canadian intelligence and law enforcement agencies have maintained that the decision to kill Hardeep Singh Nijjar was taken at the highest levels of Indian government. Now, in that case, people have usually thought that it was Amit Shah and Ajit Doval that they were talking about, but this reporter simply asked the question whether Carney thought that Modi was involved, and Carney did not say no. I mean, that should be enough reason for Modi to not go to Canada, but he will go. He needs photographs with Donald Trump so he can try and tell people. He's probably going to jump on Donald Trump and hug him and do a lot of chappies so that he can restore his own status as a popular leader in the eyes of his followers in India. But the fact that the Prime Minister of Canada, after inviting Modi, does not exclude him from this conspiracy is shocking. The second question that was asked about him was that why would he invite Modi given the issues at hand? And again, Carney gave a very interesting answer. His answer was that he invited Modi and spoke with Modi, and that there was an agreement, a bilateral agreement between Canada and India on cooperation on law enforcement issues. And then he finishes off his sentence by saying, it is in this context that I invited Narendra Modi. Now, Carney uses this phrase in this context quite a bit. In fact, in this short interview, he has used it also. But to say that I invited Modi, he's implying that Modi has agreed to cooperate with Canada. This is what Canada has been asking for the past 2 years, that they do not have enough evidence to completely undermine or completely derail India's attempt to kill Khalistanis and Khalistan supporters in Canada, and he wants India's support and collaboration and cooperation in basically bringing the murderers to boot. And accountability, that is the key thing. Once you have determined who in the Indian government was responsible for the murders in Canada, Canada wants accountability, and they are probably asking for accountability against Ajit Doval or even Amit Shah. I don't know what has been discussed in private, but in the media, these two names have been used often in the Canadian media. So this is, I think, very, very troubling for those people who watch geopolitics closely. They should be very concerned that Prime Minister Modi is going to Canada in a very difficult scenario. Now, for those who don't remember, the India and Canada's relationship had completely gone south. They don't even have ambassadors in each other. There are no high commissioners. They have very basic embassies. The size of the staff has been reduced significantly. There have been delays in visas, etc. So the relationship between Canada and India went completely south after Canada accused India of killing Canadian citizens who India claims are terrorists and extremists, and Canada says that they are basically political activists who have the freedom of speech in Canada. The relationship had gone south. India continued to deny that there was any connection between what India did and what happened to Hardeep Singh Nijjar. But of course, as you're all aware, that in the US government did a much better job than the Canadians. They provided evidence, forced India to do an inquiry and report back to them, and they even arrested Nikhil Gupta, who is right now in a Manhattan jail at the moment, for doing exactly in the US what India denies it did in Canada. But there are several issues that I want to also add as to especially two challenges that Prime Minister Modi is going to face when he comes to Canada for the G7. One, he's going to meet Mr. Trump personally. I wonder whether there will be a bilateral meeting and a press conference. Unlike India, where there are no press conferences, there will be press conferences and media is going to ask questions. And of course, the issue of the ceasefire is going to come up. And I guarantee you, if Prime Minister Modi and Donald Trump are on camera together, Donald Trump is going to claim once again that he had brought about the ceasefire between the two countries. He might even say that my friend Prime Minister Modi is extremely grateful that I brought about the ceasefire. The question then is, will Modi then on his face tell him that no sir, you had no role to play in this at all? Even though Dr. Jaishankar and the Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson have said on more than one occasion that they don't think that the US had a role to play in the ceasefire. It was the Pakistanis' phone call that put an end to the Operation Sindoor, or put a pause on the Operation Sindoor. And the second thing is that not only has Trump claimed now 12 times that he was personally responsible for bringing about a ceasefire between two nuclear powers, but the second issue is that he has been upgrading the status of Pakistan in the diplomatic circles. In fact, his latest comment was that the Pakistani leadership has a very strong leadership, and I know some people are not going to like it, and obviously he's talking about either the Indian lobby in the US or India itself, and he acknowledges that some people are not going to like it, but he said that Pakistan has a strong leadership, so praising Nawaz Sharif and I guess General Asim Munir, who are the leadership. So Prime Minister Modi should be prepared for Donald Trump saying something like that on his face. He's probably going to say that you are both great countries, you are both close to America, we have great partnerships with both of you, it is important that you start negotiations, I'm willing to help you on Kashmir and stuff like that. So that is one challenge that Prime Minister Modi is going to face during his visit to G7. The other is questions from the press, where they might just ask him, are you responsible for murdering Hardeep Singh Nijjar? And of course he's going to say, no, we don't do these kind of things, which of course even Indians are not going to believe, because Indians actually believe that he did it. They are actually proud of the fact that Indian government is killing people in other countries, which most people think are against international law and behavior that is expected of democracies. When Indians justify this, they often invoke the United States behavior, the US killing of Osama bin Laden and General Soleimani, but there's a slight difference. When the United States killed bin Laden and Soleiman, they acknowledged it. They in fact have a press conference saying we did it, and even now there are movies about how it was done, etc. But when India does it, India denies doing that. So there is a slight difference. India says no, we didn't do it, but then the proxies draw analogies with the US. So this issue, India's relations with Canada are continuing to buck the diplomatic efforts of the Modi government. It will be very, very interesting to watch what happens in Alberta if there is a bilateral between Carney and Modi, between Modi and Trump, and there is press there from different parts of the world. So I hope you found this conversation interesting, useful, thought-provoking. So please subscribe to Khanversations, like this video, press the bell icon, share this video with your socio-political network, and of course say hello to Sultan. Hello Sultan, this is Sultan. He's riding with me on this trip and he wants to say something, but we will not allow him. Bye.